after Deshaun Watson had played his 2 games, and ultimately just looked horrible after his first 2 games of the season, the Browns were talking about potential outs of Deshaun Watson's contract, what they could do if the league were to suspend him for conduct potentially vital to the game. Saints currently have the 12th overall pick, so I mean, we could trade up and make it happen. Yeah, I can. USC's defense is the only reason they won't make it. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams though, that don't have a good defense that could make it and win. I just think we're so spoiled by Georgia's defense in that SEC prowess, Georgia, Alabama, whoever it was being up there, ultimately having that because the SEC always is in the college football playoff. Defense gives you an edge. Yes, absolutely. Again, if you can establish that presence in the trenches, rushing the quarterback, you're going to be in a good spot to win the football game. But yeah, so want to get to Deshaun Watson. The Browns are exploring options for outs of Deshaun Watson's contract potentially. This really came about after Deshaun Watson had the 2 face masks in the game against, I can't remember who it was against. Was it against the Steelers? Yes. The 2 face masks against the Steelers. And Deshaun was just playing horrible. $230 million guaranteed, all the picks that they traded. We know what's happened to get Deshaun Watson into this point and ultimately make this talking point. So Deshaun Watson's Browns contract guarantees can be voided if he was or is suspended 2 or more games. So Deshaun Watson's 5-year, $230 million contract with the Browns that runs through 2026 is fully guaranteed, as we know, but it can be voided if he is suspended for on-field infractions. The guarantees are voided for NFL suspensions with the following exceptions. Player is suspended for not more than 1 game for violations of the official NFL playing rules, or player is suspended for violations of the official NFL playing rules that, in the club's, the Browns' sole opinion, results from non-egregious conduct. So basically that means if he's suspended for at least 2 games for violating on-field rules, or if the Browns see a violation that led to 1-game suspension as egregious, they could void the guarantees. Just a little bit of a loophole for the Browns to obviously really just save their ass from a desperate move, from a desperate franchise, at a desperate time, because Baker Mayfield showed you lightning in a bottle for 6 or 7 games, and then finally showed you that he wasn't the number 1 overall pick that everybody cracked him up to be. Loved Baker at Oklahoma. My dogs had to go through him in a fantastic Rose Bowl game, ultimately to lose to Tua and Devontae Smith at Alabama. So I get all of that. But, the language in this is really notable because there was kind of some uncertainty whether he was going to be suspended after he had the couple of face masks from a quarterback, again, 2 of them in a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was fined, I'm trying to get it to show me here. He was fined $35,513 for the 2 unnecessary violations. 2 unnecessary roughness penalties, grabbed the face mask of defenders multiple times. So, what this says to me is the Browns know. I'll just leave it at that. The Browns know where they're at right now with Deshaun Watson. Did he play solid against the Titans? Yeah. It's also one of the worst secondaries in the league, so he really hadn't done much until he played a bad Titans team. But the Browns, again, desperate move from a desperate franchise, the most money ever in NFL history for a guy that missed 17 games, 28 games. He had to miss the 28 games after he was at the peak of his career before he could come and play for you. Love Stefanski as a coach. I'm one of the few out there that I feel like gives Stefanski his flowers because I saw what he did with that Browns roster, with the team, getting them into the playoffs and all that. And the Browns have a very good roster right now. Like, the front 7 is great. The defense might be the best in the NFL. Very solid offensive line. We know Nick Chubb is out, which really sucks. But the Browns, it doesn't need to get to a position to where Kevin Stefanski's job is questioned because his record has fallen for the last few seasons, because Baker Mayfield returned back to form. And his franchise, he don't write the checks. Does he have influence? Yeah, I'm sure. I'd love to think it wasn't Stefanski's input to pay him a 5-year, fully guaranteed, largest deal ever, $230 million. But when you're basically missing you're missing your quarterback for 11 games, Baker Mayfield's out, you've got these backups coming in, playing with the Browns, Jacoby Brissett, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If y'all want to flame me in the comments for getting it wrong, that's fine. Just don't know off the top of my head who it is. Stefanski came in and won Coach of the Year for a reason. They built this roster around Stefanski, for him, a little before and after him, his arrival, before his arrival, after his arrival, to bring success to the team. And I was happy to see Browns fans, the franchise, the brand of the Cleveland Browns actually benefit from this. The Browns just know that there's no time to waste. They understand in a loaded AFC that there's no time to waste. Tua, the Bills, obviously the Chiefs, all the AFC teams. When the Bengals get back to life, the Ravens are still here. Like when Jacksonville recovers, these are all teams that the Cleveland Browns have to worry about. And if Deshaun Watson is playing C+ football at best outside of the Titans game, he didn't play last game. He was dealing with the shoulder injury. That kind of shocked me. That's why they lose 28-3. Not really going to drag the Browns for that when you don't have Deshaun. I think that game showed how valuable. Now, yes, the defense did give up 28 points, so I understand that. But the Browns, again, they understand no time to waste. No time to waste. Should you have given the contract? Absolutely not. Does everybody think that? Absolutely yes. Browns just have a decision to make. Again, not a big talking point. Just wanted to put that out there because we saw the Broncos say, hey, if Russ continues to play like shit, we're moving off of him. And we got an exit strategy. We're not afraid to talk about it. I like that NFL teams really aren't afraid to not necessarily have this stuff leak, but ultimately to be able to take this action to get them out of a place that ultimately they don't want to be in.